My name is Flora Day Rider. My parents are the late Henry Jr. and Day Rider. I have a business administration diploma from the Lethbridge College. I have my bachelor's management from the University of Lethbridge, and I have a master's of business administration from Athabasca University. One of the main reasons why I wanted to run for council was as I wanted to be an advocate for all people. For like the elders, the disabled, homeless, those with addictions. For me personally, like Sandy's story really touched me because like it's one of the reasons why I wanted to participate in this forum is because like I fully understand exactly where she's coming from, and I strongly wanted to assist and help I guess with their cause. My parents were, I was a caregiver for 15 years for my parents. And in that time, like they became physically disabled. So like my mom had 3 strokes. My dad had spinal surgery. So he had spinal cord issues. And it was really difficult to get the supports we needed, even when we were on reserve. And so like I understand how difficult it is, especially for adults with disabilities, to really get those services, to get that access to applicable funding, to try and pay for all these different equipments and stuff you may need to help you have a better quality of life. My dad was very fortunate enough to have a friend who worked at one of these healthcare aid places, home care. Medichair it was. He's retired now, but because of that friendship, like we were able to kind of like finance all of this additional equipment that we needed. So we're able to get both my parents' hospital beds, wheelchairs, scooters, lift chairs. And if we didn't have, and that was all out of our own monies, we had to take that out of our pocket. The tribe didn't help us, NIHB didn't help us, and so like it was really quite difficult, and it's really quite costly. So for me, I think like if the tribe can allocate $127 million to capital projects, they can allocate some monies to assist our disabled within our community, have an emergency fund that they can access. Because sometimes like in the grand scheme of things, like there are little things that you need. Like for example, we needed the door to one of the bedrooms widened just this much. And it took almost like a good 2 years before we could even get that done, because like my parents were living on a fixed income. They couldn't afford to get somebody to come in to fix the door properly, because they didn't have access to individuals that were able to do the job. And so we relied on housing to kind of help us with that. And so in the end, it took them an hour, and we had to wait like almost 2 years for that to happen. So I completely understand like the complexities, the inability to access services in a timely fashion. And I really truly believe that for our disabled members on our reserve, that we need to include them in our community, and we need to put some dollars to that, and have like an actual advocate for these for the disabled on our community, somebody who's going to help them navigate the system, someone who's going to help them direct them to various funding agencies, somebody who knows where to find certain services, or for like Sandy's example, where their services were cut, how can they get those services back, and be an advocate and really be a champion for these people. And I think that is something that we really need to look at, and we really need to try and establish on our reserve, because we do need to be an inclusive community. So that's part of my platform, and I'll kind of move into other aspects. Also too, like in terms of other issues, like we really need to increase our employment rate on the reserve. With my management background, like I really feel like we really lack in economic development. And we really need to encourage industry on our reserve, because encouraging industry will build our economy, right? So if we get more people in jobs, more people are working, we have disposable incomes, we're able to support our tribal small businesses. You know, if you don't have that disposable income, if you don't have employment, you can't support your local businesses, right? So if we can establish some kind of industry on the reserve, and I'll go to one of the questions was about open up a marijuana operation. I mean, there's so many things you could do with that, in terms of you could produce it, like grow the marijuana, and then you can manufacture it, because there's so many different products. For example, in Canada, the annual revenues for marijuana sales was 2.2 billion, and that's something that we as a tribe can tap into. And if we can tap into those kind of revenue dollars and apply them back to the tribe, I mean, there's so many things that we could do with that money. Like we could support our housing, we could figure out a plan for our older homes. I was looking at the 2016 census, and in that census it said that there were 600 houses in need of major renovations. 600 houses. Like I think we really need to figure out a plan, a strategic plan for housing. How are we going to address these 600 houses that need major renovations? How are we going to address the housing shortfall within our reserve? And that's something that I can do with my managerial background, is help them create that plan, help them create a like not just a 5-year plan. Let's create a 10, 20-year plan, because our population is going to keep growing. These houses are going to deteriorate. They're going to age. What is our plan to ensure that we're able to meet the needs of the housing needs of our population? And to the other thing is education. We will have a $48 million college built within the next few years, and we will have 900 students. Currently, there's only funding for approximately about 400 students. And so we need to find ways to reallocate some funds so we can fund all 900 students. There's absolutely no reason why we can't have a very highly educated population on the reserve. And for example, like right now we're meeting on Zoom. Everybody is tuned in to us on Facebook. We really need to think about internet access for these students, for the tribe. There's some places on this reserve where the internet access isn't very good. For me, I'm kind of like, oh no, I hope the wind doesn't knock out my internet while I'm talking. But you know, like without access to reliable and affordable internet, it's affecting the success of these students. So we really need to push to get the internet access for our students, get everybody on. It's not like a want. It's a necessity, especially with COVID. COVID brought that to our doorstep. So we really need to advocate for these students to have reliable internet reliable and affordable internet for everyone, because we all need it. We all need to be accessible to each other and be able to meet each other on Zoom. They say COVID's going to be with us for the next 2 years, so we really need to think about an immediate plan for our internet and being able to be accessible to everybody. And the last thing I wanted to speak on was language revitalization. As an adult learner for a Blackfoot, like I really would like to have the tribe put some money towards our language revitalization, because there's so many different people. They're all trying to do different stuff, but they don't have the financial means to continue their programs or to expand it so it can be accessible to not only people on the Blood tribe, but all of our members out there who are off reserve. And I think that with language, we would also, it just broadens your perspective on the whole world. So that's a real quick just a couple points on my platform, and I really appreciate Sandy and Cassie for putting up this forum. And on November 19th and November 26th, vote Flora Day Rider for council. Thank you.